talking about though, because I have seen it where it gets a shape and you can see a pattern. I actually can see it on other people's skin. What you can actually see patterns
Yep.
on their tissue,
Well, I've had
symmetrical patterns.
right in the middle here. I just pulled out a network the other day. It's like about the sixth time I pulled it out. Gone straight up above, right in the middle of my forehead. It must have pulled out, I don't know how much wire and fiber there. The lines in my skin are starting to get thinner or fading away.
Mm-hmm.
See, what happens over a period of time, because we've been exposed to this since the 60s, it coils around your body, and it's this way and this way. And so what happens is as you get older, this thing starts to contract. So all the wrinkles in our head is not aging, it's the effect of the nano pulling the tissue and shrinking the skull, shrinking everything. You know, you see a lot of the older people, they're bent over when they walk. Well, that's because the fullerenes inside are contorting and pulling them down. And it's also creating distortions.
What about magnetized water to get into the body to charge the water that's already in our cells to override any of this programming? Is there anything we can do about that?
Well, that would be a waste of time.
Waste of time. It needs a very, very strong pulse.
You gotta have a pulse. Any direct assault on this technology will cause it to morph.
So what's the difference between the bucket and a different assault? That's something I've wanted to ask you too. I'm sure a lot of people have that question.
One's a pulse. Boom, boom, boom,
okay.
Boom. You're inside the center, so you're getting pulse all the way around. Remember, north and south is in the middle. So you're getting both fields hitting you at one time.
Okay.
So what's happening is it's a wave walking over the technology, and as it hits it, it erases the program. Now you just got inert metal. Now the body can say, hey, what the hell is this doing here? And the salts,
the minerals and all that,
go into the cells and flush it out.
Okay.
That's why you add the vinegar and the baking soda, or vinegar and
all the minerals and getting it in your body, taking the baths, the salt baths.
Well, the minerals getting into the body is regenerating or replacing the minerals that were lost from the glyphosates, from the nano, using your body's internals. So you got to remember, it's using you to build the template of you using the technology. The whole transhuman bullshit is about taking your DNA, your program, and putting that into a machine that can now interact or integrate with that DNA.
Yeah.
Now I've got you trapped in a machine that you'll be now a lot easier to handle, manage, and program, because you are no longer able to have free will. Now you are peripheral.
It's like imprisoning life force.
Yeah.
Imprisoning life force energy.
You're this. You're a mouse. You're peripheral. I can now move you around any way I like.
Yeah. And that'd be domination of a species, and that's how you take over species. We've been trained to believe that nothing else exists but we exist on a planet. There's no life out there, but we got life here. So it's again that contradiction, and breaking down that contradiction so we can see clearly and start having a reason to start fighting back by building up, strengthening up, and pushing this out of our body and not accepting it in our fields of work. Because it's what we go to work. It's what we do. Everybody just accepts a paycheck because that's how they've been trained to live, all of us. And when we say, yeah, no, I'm not taking that because I'm not doing that because I can see what it's causing, it's getting that bigger perspective. And people are afraid to talk about that bigger perspective because they're afraid of ridicule and criticism. I call my brand Snafu Free, a brand that takes a stand to make a difference. I'm coming all out. I'm coming all out with no fear. And to pave the way so that other people can start talking and not being worried about ridicule. So I take pictures of my face with no makeup, show my scars. We got to stop being afraid to be embarrassed. And we stop becoming embarrassed, and we stop having these things work against us once we face ourselves and start accepting ourselves. We start giving a shit about ourselves so that we can give a shit about others. And we've been trained to do the opposite.
When you look at the earlier videos we did, I was a lot smaller. And you can see my neck behind the ear. My face was all riddled. And I used to get a lot of comments on the YouTube, about, all the, my face, how come you're a herbalist, how come you get all this shit going on? So I would write back, well, it's because I'm dealing with something I've never dealt with before.
Yeah.
Artificial life, and synthetic biology.
I know exactly what you're talking
about. So, here I am being assaulted, but I'm showing you, and as a result, because people have been following us on the YouTube, they have seen where I went from being totally marked up to a more clear complexion.
Mm-hmm.
So they see that they have seen me transition from being compromised to being in a better state of health, or better state of whatever.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw the video I sent you. I just posted it, and I'm walking around outside, and I got my all the little stuff I got on my face, and I'm showing it, and I'm exposing it, and it's contradiction for me to say, hey, I make skincare, my face is all fucked up. I want to help you, help yourself, like I'm helping me. Just like what you said right now, it's really, really hard. But if you're not living this, you can't fix it. And people won't be able to help somebody else in that same position because they got this is some off the charts. Some off the charts. It ain't acne. It's not acne.
No.
Yeah. So I understand you.
Even when people say they have acne in their 50s, this is what the medical field has told them. But they don't have acne. They've got this synthetic biology eating them from the inside out. It's the whole aging thing. We're not even supposed to be aging. We renew our bodies every 7 years. Every cell in our body is renewed from pillar to post. Every bone cell, every organ cell, everything's renewed. So why are we dying?
Yeah.
Because they put a program
accelerating.
to kill us.
I have images of me where I just look like a potato sack. I used to weigh 211 pounds. I've always fought with my weight, always, since I was a little kid. I was bulimic. I was all kinds of things. I had a horrible perspective, low self-esteem growing up as a kid. No matter what I looked like, if I was thin or fat or huge, I was just distorted. Now I come to understand that it's this glyphosate literally will distort the body, will change the molecular structure for some people, and we become potatoes, sacks of potatoes. And I look like that 2015 and 16, and I got pictures of that. And then because of what happened to my face and the attention that it got, and then learning from you, and all of these modalities and all of these things that I learned from you literally transformed my body. I look 10 years younger. I'm stronger than when I used to box in my 20s. My body, I want to say things that maybe I shouldn't say, but I got to say, because there's some women out there who have really poor perceptions of themselves. Their body is distorted by what's being put into our food system, our food supply. That's not the food, it's what's being done to our food supply, the substances in there. That when I was 20, my breast would hang down, and I'm 20. I'm in my 20s. I'm about to be 46. And now that I'm 46 and I've been doing all of these minerals and strengthening my body, I got muscle structure, definition, and tone that I'm going to eventually start posting so people see what you're talking about. We are being downgraded. We're being rapidly aged, and we can reverse this by changing this up, changing our perspective and seeing where the attack is coming from, where the breakdown's coming from, however we want to, whatever perspective we want to get this from. But we are being broken down from the inside out, and my body has transformed. Not only my face, but my body has been transformed from what I've learned from you. And I want to thank you very much. And I also want to say that now my chest is straight up ahead, and it's just like, damn, I didn't even have this when I was in my 20s. What is going on? What?
I gotta see. I don't believe.
Now there won't be any shows, pictures, or videos about that. Everybody's gonna have to take my word for it. But there's some poor young girls who got some distorted perceptions about themselves, and it's about what's going into our body. And these are what these videos, these tutorials I want to do, so that we can start identifying. And then if it's the nano stuff is too big, and this artificial intelligent information is too big for people, let's just get down to, let's help you feel good about yourself. Let's help you get to what you actually really look like, and now the distorted version of yourself because of the shit that they're putting into our system, be it in the air, and the water, and the food.
There is no separation from it. This is the thing. It's a threefold hit. And if they're not going to listen to that, they're not going to listen to anything else either.
It's sad, but they do listen to anything that has to do with making themselves beautiful. It's very sad. It's very sad.
I get that. Vanity sells, and I always mention about women. When I grew up, the women were rack, stacked, and packed. Their ass, leg, definition, proportion, their breasts, everything was tight and packed. When they walked, they glided because they exuded strength and power. Today, I look at women, their ass starts from halfway up their back, down behind their knees.
Yeah, we have a distortion going on. Yeah. Absolutely.
That's genetics. Not the women's genetics. That's the genetics they're eating.
It's men, what's being, exactly.
Men have a gut that starts from underneath their chin and goes all the way down to their balls. They can't even see their dick when they piss. That's because of the genetics from the estrogens they put in the food. When you're looking at the skeletal damage that women are, that osteo this, osteo that ain't osteo. That's genetic assault from not only the food, but the nano. Because the nano now, especially the silica, which they sold everybody on silica. Oh, silica. Well, that attaches itself to the bone. And then it breaks the bone down because it's assembling and using the bone in its matrix. Because the calcium in the body acts as a conductor of power and energy. Silica also is a conductor. So you got two conductors that are working together and it assembles and grows, and again, breaks you down, hollows you out. Now, we've got carbon C-60, which they're probably putting in a food supply. They almost bet money on it.
Yeah, I actually found somebody saying that they were doing that to vitamin water, and they were actually, it was a food scientist stating what foods and brands they were putting this stuff in. And just that little clip alone, it's not somebody making something up. It's food scientists saying this is what they put in the food to help you. Wow. These motherfuckers are telling us they're actually going to help us with this. And so it goes exactly with what you're saying. They're proving that they are doing this.
Oh, NASA admitted they're dumping lithium in the sky, that red stuff in the sky. That's not the red sun setting. That's the lithium they dumped in the atmosphere so they could monitor the weather. They're not monitoring fuck all. They're putting people in a state of brain de-evolution. Now you're adding silica to that, which also shuts down DNA communications. Now they can't talk, the cells can't talk to each other, can't activate the immune system. Now they're selling nano silver. They're putting it in the food supply out in the field. And now the guys are eating it. Now they've lost their balls. They can't get erected anymore because the nano silver gets inside the testicles. It literally shreds the balls to pieces. So they can't produce the testosterone required to produce an erection, nor can they produce the testosterone required to sustain their masculinity.
And that's how, and I want to say this, and not because I'm looking at it from a vanity point, right? There's nothing vain about my perspective of how I want to get this message across, but I do understand what people follow. Like you said, if it's too big to handle over here and nobody's listening, they will listen if you say, hey, are you a man and you got big titties and you don't want them and you don't understand why you're growing breasts? Well, let me tell you about this. Boom. And then people start doing and start repairing. Women, their distorted bodies. You don't want to do this over here, but watch. This over here is going to help you strengthen, rebuild, and it will take care of the other simultaneously. This is my perspective. This is how I'm going at it. And it's not about, does anybody listen to me? Does anybody care? I could care less. I got to get this information out, and it will fall right where it needs to. And it will be from, that's why I make, I got these, my skincare line, bringing it from a perspective of a vanity point to help repair, but this message is much deeper, and that's where the talk radio show I wanna get out. I don't even know if it's called the talk radio show. I've never done anything like that before, but I do want to start.
All you gotta do is talk.
Yeah. Well, it's hard. Yeah, I'm not good at talking to myself.
You're a woman. Talking's easy. Just talk.
Well, it's easy to talk to you, sir, but it's not easy to talk to myself. I tried that.
Okay, when you do a show, develop a script that you want to follow. Okay. Set a time frame. Pace yourself, because when you first start off, you'll have all this shit you feel downloaded and highlighted and all this other whatever. And then you'll do the show. In 10 minutes, you've gone through all this shit you've prepared. In that hour, I can tell you, because that's what I did, right? Because I didn't know anything about radio either. Then I realized all I got to do is pace it. There's no race, there's no rush. Talk about this. Have 10 things set up. If you get through 4 or 5, that's great. You can just use the other 4 or 5 things for the next show. It's cool. Okay. That's how that works. Now, I don't even write a script anymore. Now, what I do is I'll do my research. I'll pull up all this data and this information. I will record my show. Then I'll put it on the Podbean. And then what I've done now is here are all the links. There's 25 links. Go take a look at them. Now, the onus is on them. I have talked about it on the show. I've recorded the show. I've given it out. I'm not charging nobody for the radio. Mm-hmm. Not even taking. I don't even take any endorsements from any company either.
Yeah. So you can say what you got to say.
What I gotta say, I can say any way I like to say it. I don't have to be under somebody's thumb or somebody's economic control. And they can now look for themselves what I'm seeing. I can direct them with the links and the things that I'm showing. So now they can go and decide for themselves, or better yet, do more investigation on their own to determine what is true or not. I don't try to convert anybody. The way I look at it is this: the truth shall set you free. So if I tell you the truth to the best of my ability, the truth then will set you free. Whether or not you want to accept the truth is another story.